Did you know that in the 1960s, while the world was watching America's Apollo missions, the Soviet Union was launching a series of terrifying suicide missions to our neighboring planet, Venus? The Soviets poured billions of dollars and years of effort into creating probes designed to land on another planet for the first time in history and capture images. But what these probes encountered on Venus was a living hell, a nightmare that shocked Soviet scientists to their core. Today, we're diving into the story of these forgotten missions that unveiled Venus's horrifying secrets. How did a tiny camera lens cap waste years of work and billions of dollars more? And what was so terrifying on Venus that even with today's technology, Russia has never gone back? During the 1960s and 70s, the Cold War was at its peak. The United States and the Soviet Union were in a fierce race to become the king of space. While America focused all its energy on the moon, the Soviets soon, seeing that the US might actually succeed in landing a man there, set their sights on a different, more mysterious target, Venus. At the time, scientists believed Venus and Earth were twins. They were similar in size, neighbors in the solar system, and a comparable distance from the sun. The only obvious difference was the thick, impenetrable layer of clouds that completely shrouded Venus. No one knew what lay beneath. The Soviets figured, anyone can see the moon with a telescope. But if they could show the world what was hidden under Venus's clouds, it would be a monumental achievement, maybe even bigger than landing on the moon. And if they found oceans, forests, or even alien life, that would be a clear victory. And so, they planned not 1 or 2, but 18 missions to Venus. They named their probe Venera, which is Russian for Venus. The first few attempts were disastrous failures. Venera 1, launched in 1961, was the first probe ever sent to another planet. But contact was lost just 7 days after launch. It silently flew past Venus, sending back no data. 4 years later, Venera 2 met a similar fate. But the Soviets were relentless. 1966. They launched Venera 3. This was a true suicide mission, designed only to crash land, and it did. On March 1, 1966, Venera 3 became the first man-made object to touch the surface of another planet, even though it went silent before impact. A year later, Venera 4 finally brought some success. It managed to enter Venus's atmosphere and transmitted crucial data. Revealing that the atmosphere was overwhelmingly composed of carbon dioxide. Initially, the Soviets claimed the probe had landed safely, but the truth was far grimmer. The immense atmospheric pressure had crushed Venera for like a soda can miles above the surface. Realizing their probes couldn't survive the landing, they redesigned Venera 7 to be an absolute tank. Its only goal was to survive, and it did. On December 15, 1970, despite a torn parachute and a crash landing that left it toppled over, Venera 7 transmitted data from the surface for 23 agonizing minutes. It became the first spacecraft to successfully transmit data from another planet's surface. But the data it sent back was the surface temperature was 465 degrees Celsius, twice as hot as a kitchen oven. And the atmospheric pressure was 90 times greater than Earth's, equivalent to being a kilometer deep in the ocean. With this horrifying new data, the Soviets pushed forward. The era of Venera 9 to 14 marked their greatest triumphs and most frustrating failures. These probes were 5-ton beasts, designed to withstand the hellish conditions. And for the first time, they were equipped with cameras. On October 22, 1975, Venera 9 sent back the first ever image from the surface of Venus. History was made. The world saw not a sandy desert, but a jagged, rocky wasteland of sharp, broken stones under an oppressive orange sky. But bad luck plagued these missions. On Venera 9 and 10, only one of the 2 lens caps on the cameras opened. On Venera 11 and 12, both lens caps failed to open. They sent back tons of data, but not a single picture. Then came Venera 14, and one of the most bizarre accidents in space history. The probe had a spring-loaded arm designed to test the soil's hardness. But as fate would have it, the camera's lens cap, after being ejected, landed in the exact spot where the arm was supposed to strike the ground. So, instead of measuring the hardness of Venusian rock, the multi-million-dollar instrument ended up measuring the hardness of its own lens cap. After these missions, the Soviets changed their strategy. Venera 15 and 16 were orbiters, equipped with powerful radar to map the surface from above. For 8 months, they pierced through the thick clouds, revealing a world of mountains taller than Everest and canyons, stretching for thousands of kilometers. Thanks to these daring, often tragic Soviet missions, we now know Venus for what it is, a toxic, scorching hellscape. It has a crushing atmosphere, clouds of sulfuric acid, hurricane-force winds, and a surface hot enough to melt lead. The space race may be over, but the legacy of the Venera probes lives on. They turned a mysterious, veiled planet into a known, albeit terrifying, world. Thank you for watching. Fear. If you enjoyed this journey into the history of space exploration, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing stories. See you in the next video.